Welcome to episode 3 of Kirby Month, the Kirby Dreamland 3 review. Alright, let's begin with the story. Sorry about the dog interrupting this a bit. So, the story basically involves around a dark force invading Dreamland, curious to gather heart stars and take out this evil threat. And overall, the plot isn't bad. And I think it ends in one of the best final battles in the series, though we are kind of jumping ahead. But I'm sorry to jump ahead even worse, but this is my least favorite Kirby game I've played yet. It's not fun. So before we get to the negatives, let's start with the positives that I think this game really does well. And one of those positives, for sure, is the whole thing with, how do I get on Rick right now? Oh, whatever. It's particularly that this game looks good. That's one of the biggest things I can say about this game. It looks good. It doesn't look absolutely gorgeous or anything, but it's one of the better looking Kirby games. The art style looks right out of a child's coloring book. And I kind of love that. Of course, it does have one of the better Kirby final battles. And I like the idea of combining abilities with animal friends. It's quite fun. But this game does have problems. Alright, so basically, it's a simple game where you just try to collect heart stars by doing tasks through each level. Unfortunately, though, this is an SNES game that's doing that. And if a game does this sort of thing before about the mid-2000s, it's going to be extremely hard to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. And this game suffers from that tremendously. It's not as bad as other NES games. Maybe tremendously was a bit too far. But this game often has this sort of issue. And even when you can figure out how to deal with these heart stars, they can be pretty aggravating. Oh yeah, one other positive I forgot about. The soundtrack. This is one of the best Kirby games when it comes to music. At least one of the best early Kirby games when it comes to music. The sound that you're probably hearing right now is really, really good. The song in particular. I just really love it. And the final battle theme is the best one in the game. But now back to the heart stars. It's not that they're all awful, but it's that it's bad game design, at least to me, to make a collectible required for the good ending, and require you to collect all of them. I just personally think that's bad game design, though some may think different. But it's the fact that all of them are required that makes these heart stars go from a bit annoying to aggravating. Because remember, this isn't for something simple like, I don't know, a special reward. This is for the game's good ending. Which might be a bit far to some people. And some people does indeed include me. I think that this one is awful when it comes to its abilities, and the fact that it requires you to collect all the heart stars. So yeah, since we have talked about the positives like the game's amazing soundtrack and visuals, let's get to the heart stars that bothered me the most. I'm sorry, the most of this review is literally just talking about that. But probably the most, one of the lesser ones would be a particular level in Cloudy Park where he needs to dust off flowers. And, it's weird because some animal friends do deal with this well, and some don't. And as such, it can be very confusing to actually achieve the goal. And that's a prime example of what makes some of these really annoying. And if you're curious, this is my favorite one. Sand Canyon 3 is another great example of this. You need to clear a group of puzzles to try and solve, and try and collect pieces of Rob to get him back together. And I really don't like this one, because you have to clear so many puzzles that it can get very annoying. But it gets worse, as we haven't talked about the worst challenge. Oh yeah, and that one's also really hard. Easily the worst challenge to complete in the game. For the good ending, mind you. Has to be the second to last level of the game in Iceberg. In the level, you need to take Choo Choo to the end. And that's all you really need to do. You just need to have Choo Choo at the end of the level. Now what could make that so bad? Simple. Choo Choo isn't even in the level. So let me go tell you the process of how I beat that level's Heart Star and got it. I first completed the level hoping I'd stumble upon the answer pretty easily. I did not. I figured out I needed Choo Choo, so I went through the level again, looking for Choo Choo. She wasn't there. And you know what makes it better? Now I had to go play 1-1 and find Choo Choo. Not find Choo Choo, find Nago. Nago was the required one. And now I need to go back to 1-1, get Nago, and then clear the level a third time. That might not seem that bad, but it is the longest level in the game. Not only that, but it's one of the most boring and tedious, because another thing I didn't complain about enough, the level design gets really, really bad near the end. In fact, the final level of the game, even without that stupid Heart Star challenge, would be one of my least favorite levels in probably the Kirby series. But with that Heart Star challenge, it became one of the worst video game levels I've ever seen. On the same area of Heatman. It's that bad. At least Heatman could be cheesed. Oh yeah, and one really fun thing. To bring Nago to the end of the level, you can't die! Meaning you have to go through the entire second to last level of the game damageless. It's so frustrating that I can't put it into words. I'm not saying this game is outright awful. Like I said, there are some positive things about it. One thing I actually didn't notice, and I'm only noticing right now, is that the floating has actually been changed to matching a certain button instead of pressing up, like a la whatever it's called, Adventure, which I think is a massive quality of life improvement. And it finally got back to the normal way of floating we have today, which is another advance. But I think my opinion on this game can best be described by Josh Scorcher's old opinion on Okami, which is ironically enough one of my favorite games of all time. It does a lot of things right, but the things it does wrong really irritate me. And unfortunately for those reasons, Dreamland 3 is going at the bottom of my current series ranking. Under both Adventure and definitely under Superstar. So, see me next time when we're taking a massive jumping game release, and going to, ironically enough, the remake of my current #1 game, Superstar Ultra. So I'll be seeing you in the next episode of Kirby Month. See you next time. Got anything else to say, Kirby? No? Okay, bye. Deadball.